Next big driving factor, nutrition, right? What are some of the nutrients to help that gut lining, to keep it strong, to keep the integrity up? Because these tight junctions, right, are made up of proteins, right? So you need good protein to keep that gut lining integrity dialed in. So one of the big proteins is going to be the protein that's going to be in bone broth. That's going to be glycine and proline. So the compounds called proline-rich peptides, PRP, they'll extract that from colostrum, or we'll do glycine from bone broth, or we'll take collagen peptides. These nutrients and amino acids are very powerful. Provide a good building block for the enterocytes. These are the sites that make up that gut lining. So enterocytes, glycine, proline, very powerful building blocks. You can also use amino acids like glutamine are also very helpful and provide good energy source for the gut lining. So nutrients are very important. Again, protein in general is going to be incredibly helpful. We have to have good amino acids, good protein. Again, the more impaired your digestion is, the more I like collagen peptides, the more I like bone broth, because these things are already broken down and more bioavailable. Biggest problem with a carnivore diet for some people is it's hard to break down a lot of protein. If you eat a 20-ounce steak, it's hard to break that down. You may need enough stomach acid, enough enzymes, maybe even bile to be able to manage that protein and fat. So we have to make sure we have the ability to break down that protein, to break down that fat. Because when your gut's impaired, when your gut's inflamed, your gut lining may be sensitive and you may not make enough enzymes and acids. One thing I wanted to show you here too, check this out. Mucus is also really important. Mucus provides a barrier on the gut lining. Now, there's bacteria in the gut called Akkermansia that provide that mucus integrity, that help that gut lining stay strong and have that extra mucus bilayer. You also have cells, I think it's in the stomach as well, your goblet cells. Goblet cells also help produce mucus as well. And so they secrete mucin, which is that protective layer. And so if your gut is inflamed, it's possible that those goblet cells will not produce adequate levels of mucus. So mucus is really important. The goblet cells are very important for that. And the more chronic gut inflammation we have, the more impaired those cells will be, right? We have the goblet cells that are producing essentially mucus that provide that gut barrier layer. We also have our parietal cells that produce hydrochloric acid, and they also produce intrinsic factor that help us absorb B12. B12 is a really important nutrient for our blood to form, right? If we don't have adequate levels of B12, we're going to form what's called megaloblastic anemia, which is essentially a really big, goofy red blood cell, right? Red blood cells are opposite to humans, right? Humans start off small and get big. Red blood cells start off large and undifferentiated, and they get smaller and differentiated. And we don't have enough B12. They stay big and goofy and undifferentiated. So that's what a megaloblastic anemia is. Mega meaning big. And then you have the opposite, which is a microcytic hypochromic. Keyword is micro, small, really anemic blood cells. That's going to be from low iron. And again, if we're not absorbing these nutrients and we don't have adequate healthy blood cells, we're not going to be able to carry oxygen and we're not going to be able to carry nutrients adequately. So very important on that front. Nutrition, iron, B12, really important nutrients, glycine, proline, and glutamine are going to be key nutrients there for the gut lining.